fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got everything outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up top!
Oh my god! Oh! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Second very close. These guys are going to want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go!
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
It's time to wrap up what has been an enthralling opening season of the Australian Turbo Touring Car iRacing Series. The championship will be decided today. Mathematically, it's still a chance for anyone inside the top 8. More realistically, there's just 4 points separating the top 3 in the standings. One tiny mistake could be, and probably will be, the difference between who wins and loses this championship. It's all still to play for here at Phillip Island for round 6, live on Simspeed TV. My name is Ryan Jones, alongside me is Cameron Dance. Jake Kennedy is, as always, behind the scenes. And Cam, Phillip Island is a fast and flowing circuit by nature, but going to be a little bit tricky today with the understeer these cars induce.
Yeah, certainly. This is a very, very well-known track amongst the AusNZ community, and in fact, any sort of racing community will usually know this track reasonably well. You've very high speed, usually relatively high overall speed as well, lap speed. So going to be looking forward to this race. Track is actually quite warm today compared to what we've previously seen in the past few rounds. It's about 47 degree track temp. So these poor little front wheel drive TCR cars are definitely going to be feeling the heat of that UV, and yeah, really going to be interesting to see what happens, because this championship is so tight. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, let's take a look at the championship then. We've got the standings coming up on the screen for you. Thomas Hiddens has led since the first round, but the gap's been getting smaller and smaller as the season's gone on. Mount Panorama threw a spanner in the works for a few drivers, really opened up the gap back to 4th, but the top 3 got ever closer again. That's how it is at the moment. 3 points back to McQueen, 4 points back to Ferraris. That's just 4 points. And the way the point system works in this series, that's just 1 position on track is 1 point. So if Ferraris can outrace Indy by 5 places today over the course of both races, and McQueen stays behind him, he'll win the championship. Wouldn't it be juicy if we had all 3 drivers level on points heading into the final race here today, Cam?
Yeah, it certainly would. It would be just awesome to see, and it would be literally winner take all in the final race. It's going to be very interesting to see this first race producers, whether we're going to have a mono battle between all 4 of these drivers in the final race, or whether it's going to be sort of more or less who's going to try and do any sort of weird tactics. It'll really be interesting with that pit stop also in that second race. It's really going to make things even more interesting.
So that team's championship up on screen as well. Prologue React Esport holding a slender lead, only 24 points back to Eclipse Sim Sports. That's the battle between 2 teams for the win in that championship. Everyone else quite a ways adrift, but still lots of minor placings up for grabs in both teams and drivers. Qualifying then currently underway. Scotty McQueen's put down the gauntlet early with a 1:38.759. Actually the only driver to set a time. As finally Ferraris comes across with a 39.0, and Ara Felberg goes third with a 1:40.4. 3 laps, as always, for the last half of the season that they can do in qualifying to pump in a good lap time. We saw last week at Bathurst, quite a few drivers missed out on the 3rd lap due to the long nature of this track. Luckily, this one's only about a 1:40 lap time, so should get all 3 laps in here, barring mistakes.
Yeah, certainly. Even with that bit of a warm-up period that you're going to have in those first 2 laps, more or less. So it'll be interesting to see what happens as Hinsey goes straight to. So the top 3 title contenders, all 1, 2, 3 at the moment in qualifying, but we'll see who can possibly be the fly in the sandwich as Hamish Clinton comes across the line, goes to P8 for the time being. But currently those top 3 really close on times, not actually too dissimilar in terms of lap times as well after the first lap compared to what they were doing in practice as well. So it's interesting to see the pace differential. In practice they did have a bit of draft as well, so we'll see who might be able to do something as Bailey Sweeney goes straight to the top.
Good lap. Did he? Bailey Sweeney? No, he's not. He's still
no.
starting 7th, Cam. He's still starting 7th. If you do want to get involved and race in this series for Season 2, make sure you go and like the Australian Turbo Touring Car Facebook page. And then stay tuned to the broadcast as well. Registrations will open at some point over the next week, I do believe. But we're announcing the schedule for Season 2 in between races 1 and 2. It's a pretty good schedule. A bit of a distinct flavour to it. So stay tuned for that. After the conclusion of race 1, of course, the format for this, if you're new to the series, we have this 10-minute qualifying session followed by a 10-minute sprint race. And we reset it all, go again for a 10-minute quali once more, and then a 20-minute feature race where there is a compulsory pit stop for a minimum of 2 tyres, and we've seen everything from pitters at the end of the first lap to pitters at the start of the final lap in that one. So plenty of strategy still out there for that second race. Could shake up the championship a little bit. McQueen still fastest from Ferraris as Bruce Ross coming down the main straight to complete his lap.
Yeah, Bruce Ross done all right so far in this championship. The lap is going to not put him up to P13 actually, so not actually that bad of a lap. See whether he can improve in this next one, but at the moment it's still pretty well settled at the moment as Mitch Martin goes straight to P1, Sweeney moves up to P4, and Ryan Jerkin to P5. So starting to see some representative time. Simon Mazzomo to P6 as well. So really, everybody's starting to lay the hammer down.
Chuck must be getting quicker here if Mazoma's gone 6. Mitch Martin. Oh, McQueen too just pulled out of his final lap. Interesting. So he won't improve. Mitch Martin's one of the drivers that got bit hard by Mount Panorama. And he was in the championship picture up until that race happened. So he'll be looking to make a point here. So he's going to come back in Season 2 and be there at the final round of the season and contend for it then. Thomas Hinds, currently 7th. If he finished like this, he wouldn't be leading heading in to the second race, and he's found an improvement here in qualifying. We know how frantic and frenetic these sprint races have been, Cam. You don't want to be putting yourself anywhere down the order.
Yeah, most certainly not, especially in the first race where it's only 10 minutes that you've kind of got any sort of opportunity to do anything. And with these laps that are not quite too, little bit just under it, it's not actually that many laps that you've got to get yourself back through the field if you end up down the order. So it's really all about just making sure you do start as high as possible up the order and then just make sure you score points, as we've seen, because those DNFs have hurt so many people. I mean, Mitch Martin, Ryan Jerrick, all these drivers nearly have had some sort of issue. As Reece Garner has improved by the looks of it and gone to P7, so pretty solid lap from him.
Mr. Southpaw racer himself puts himself up inside the top 10. He will have a video up of his standpoint of the race. It's after the round is completed. If you want to go check that out for a different perspective on how the race unfolds from the view of a driver. Back in 15th, Daniel Tell trying to find an improvement, finds a lap time almost identical to what he'd already done, so he stays back in 15th. Still just under a minute and a half left in the session. Trying to see if there's anyone else still on track. Jackson, Susan, Harlow in that distinct Altus Esports livery machine trying to get a lap time down. Very late entry to the server. Only joined halfway through qualifying. Will Chen as well trying to find a lap time. Will's been someone that struggled with qualifying over these races, hasn't he, Cam? We often see him struggling to get a lap time in, but in the race he does seem to find his way up a few spots.
Yeah, most certainly does, and he obviously is one of those drivers that proves that consistency just pays off in the race. He doesn't quite have that one lap speed, but just ends up managing to put the consistent laps over the course of the race and ends up taking advantage of those who do make mistakes and just ends up further up the order. So yeah, it will be interesting to see how he goes tonight, but at the moment, Jackson Susan Harlow, 30 seconds on the clock at the moment as he comes through, and I think
Won't get it.
might be an out lap actually.
Yeah, he's still on his outlap here. He's going to run out of time. Don't have any time after the 10 minutes winds down, like some qualifying sessions we see. So that will be how they line up here at Phillip Island for race 1 of the final round of the season. Let's take a look then at the starting grid. Mitch Martin is the spoiler to the championship fight, puts himself on pole for Eclipse Sim Sports. Scotty McLean lines up off second. Dominic Ferraris and Bailey Sweeney start third and fourth, the Prologue React Esport teammates. Row 3 occupied by Ryan Jarrett and your championship leader, Thomas Hins. Reese Gardner 7th, Tom Cool 8th. That's a fantastic qualifying for the race at Nosman there. Simon Mazzomo in 9th and Tim Grakoga starting from 10th.
And on row 6, go to Sam Ross and Ashley Norman, followed by Jay Hansen and Rob Carmichael on row 7. Row 8, Daniel Tell and Jason Markowski on row 8. Row 9, Lenny Nobili and Bruce Ross. And rounding out the top 20 will be Ira Felberg and Hamish Cliff.
21st, David Leslie, Ross Stallen starting from 22nd, Benjamin Dahlia 23rd with Cameron Cousins outside of row 12. Jackson Harlow, Brent Tucker occupy the final full row of the grid with Will Chen starting from 27th, hoping for some more of his improvements in the race. Weather conditions, 47-degree track temp. Had to double check that. That's the hottest we've seen all season long. And that's going to just maybe put off some of the drivers here, because we've seen nice cool track temps all season long, Cam, but that is extremely hot.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's very, very warm, the hottest of the season that we've seen so far, like you said, and really is going to mix things up in that second race when that pit stop comes in, and whether drivers decide to pit early. And yeah, it's going to make strategy a whole lot more important, but looks like everybody is lined up on the grid. We're not far away from going green.
Just waiting for those final drivers then. So how hard do these guys fight? The guys that are in this championship battle, they know who they need to beat. They can see them on track. Hins knows he needs to find some spots starting from 6. They're basically inverted in terms of championship order from where they start here on the grid. As the time ticks down and the revs will rise, the lights will come on, we'll get this sprint race underway. Mitch Martin off the front row gets a pretty decent start. Scotty McLean won't be able to get alongside him into turn number 1 as everyone gets off the line nicely, and Dominic Ferraris on the inside fending off a whole pack of cars there. Through the long sweeping first corner they go. Bailey Sweeney hangs tough around the outside of Ryan Jarrett. As out front, it's still Mitch Martin there from Scotty McQueen in second as they make their way through the southern loop, and looking like a pretty good start for most of the field here.
Everybody's made it through turns 1 and 2 cleanly by the looks of it, so really good start from everybody. Is hit.
Hit. Oh no! Ferraris scored as well! 2 of the championship contenders off in the dirt here at turn 1. Ryan Jarrett, way too aggressive down on the inside. Bailey Sweeney copped a piece of it as well. And Jarrett will be feeling a little bit sheepish about that one as David Leslie goes off at Siberia as well. And that, to pull out my least favourite quote of all time, is massive for the championship. That has got to have massive championship implications there, Cam, because Scotty McLean has got a golden opportunity now.
Yeah, he certainly does. But unbelievably, Hinsy's actually come out of there and he did a P3. So somehow he's actually managed to not have it end in tears. But you can see contact with Hinsey and Ryan Jarrett cars ending up making contact with each other. So really unfortunate for Dominic Ferraris and Bailey Sweeney. It's not the most ideal thing, although somewhat caused by Ryan Jarrett. But nevertheless, Hinsey will be relishing at this, and so will Scotty McQueen, because Dominic Ferraris is going to be taking a massive chunk of points out of losing a massive chunk out of points. He's currently 18th on track, so he's got a lot of work to do in these number of laps that he's got.
And we often say the final round of the championship always brings some quite crazy twists and turns, and I think we've just seen the first one there. Don't know whether it will be the last though, Cam. Hins still lined up behind McQueen. Jackson Susan Harlow is up into 10th place from dead last on the grid. He's had a phenomenal start. There's only been the 2 incidents with about 3 cars going off track in total, so he's had a stunning start to his race. Another driver that was in the championship picture up until just a couple of rounds ago. Mitch Martin's not been able to gap McQueen at all.
Yeah, certainly. McQueen's been very much on the back end of Mitch Martin all the way so far here. He's not let him get away at all. And the other thing we have to remember is that there's going to be a lot of pressure as well from the drafters. Mazomo, Jackson, Susan Harlow through Hayshed. Zomo even getting on the grass, lucky not to end up making contact with anybody or spinning it. So bit of hard racing there. But Harlow, that's another position. He's now going to be within the top 10.
Coming through the final quarter, these top three starting to really close up. Thomas Hinds has got some pretty decent pace here. Closing up towards the back of Scotty McQueen. That's the live championship points. Don't know whether Jay's quite done the correct math there, because I know that Scotty McQueen was 3 points behind Hinsey. He's only one spot ahead of him on the track. Yep. Our director, Jay, has forgotten how to do year 4 maths, so we'll get the updated Life Championship up on the screen in a moment's time. There we go. Thomas Hinds, 2 points over Scotty McQueen now. It'll be about 4 points if he gets by him here. He needs to get by him because 2 points, that's nothing, Cam.
Yeah, it absolutely is, and it's literally 2 positions, and that's about it. Is Harlow trying to make a move on Daniel Towers? He was nearly 3 wide with Rob Carmichael as well, and Mazomo is also in this sitting giant. So this 4-car, in fact 5-car train, all scrapping for these positions just inside the top 10. Harlow currently 9th, Mazomo 10th, Towers 8th, and Carmichael 7th. It's really tight in this little pack here. Is Harlow looking again, but not quite going to be close enough.
Just giving an update to Dominic Ferraris is all the way back in 24, so his race has really taken a bad turn as Harlow thought about a move up the inside of Carmichael into MG. Couldn't quite get the car up far enough. So Mizomo just waiting for an opportunity, hoping that when Harlow goes for the dive, it opens up a gap for him to follow him through as well. The exit to the final corner is crucial, gives you the good run you need down this main straight, hopefully to then move up the inside of turn 1 as Scotty McQueen does the fastest lap of the race up in the front battle. Here we go, there goes Harlow up the inside at turn 1, and I think Carmichael let him go there, lifted off before the braking point, and Harlow moves himself up as we go back to the front, Cam. This battle continuing to get closer and closer.
Yeah, McQueen did lose a little bit of time to Mitch Martin on that last lap. He's managed to claw it back on the start of this lap, and he's right there on the bumper. Hinsey actually closing in on this little battle as well with the help of that draft. So 3-way battle for the lead here, and possibly Hinsey trying to extend that championship lead.
If McQueen can get by Martin.
Oh,
Harlow, bit of contact. And I believe that's Rob Carmichael that has lost a few spots out of that. We'll get a replay from Modern Simulation up on screen. What has happened here, Cam?
well, it appears that Harlow's possibly looked at a gap at the hairpin, but not quite been able to get on the brakes late enough. And then they've come up to Siberia, and it's just appeared that Harlow's possibly been a little ambitious here. You can just see a little bit late on the brake pedal compared to sort of already committed on the entry, and unfortunately contact has been made. I'd be not surprised if there was a penalty. And just also want to point out that Dominic Frost actually did receive a penalty for making contact with his teammates. That is why he's all the way down in 24, and that's going to hurt him massively.
Can't be the contact we saw, because that we know was not his fault. Must have been something else later on as Harlow cops a whack down the main straight. And now trying to go to the inside of Carmichael, the chicken up racing machine. Can't defend that one. Not Carmichael, my bad. But that was Ashley Norman. It's all in the background. Sam Ross cops another whack. And this battle is looking like a disaster at any second as they go side by side into the hairpin. Harlow, what about 3 wide? Contact with Towell. He escapes without too much drama. So many cars trying to make ground here.
This battle for the P3 and 2. Hinsley's right there now, right on the bike bumper of McQueen. So this is going to possibly be a move on the front straight, on the reckon, for Hinsley. Maybe even double pass for the lead by McQueen and Hinsley as well, with the way this draft has been working.
This wash out of the battle back there. Harlow found his way by Towel. Tried to find his way by Carmichael through Hayshed. And they did everything except make contact through there. There's now, what, a 10-car train for 7th place on the racetrack. As Scotty McQueen up front gets right up to the back bumper of Mitch Martin. This will be the final lap of the race here, I think. It's going to be really close, actually, Cam, this on, as to whether they get another lap in.
I believe it is the white. Yes, it is actually the white flag. So final lap this time by as Hansen is off the road at Southern Loop. What has gone on there? Well, it looks like he's actually done that on his own. He's just ended up braking a little bit too late. As Hinsley has actually gone it through on McQueen, going around
the outside
as well. So he's going to do it tough, but he's going to have the inside for Siberia. And this is for the championship lead, remember. Hinsley's got pretty much everything to lose, whereas McQueen's sort of there or thereabouts, and they're going to be side by side.
Through Hayshed. Going to be brave to go side by side through here, but they're going to do it. Side by side, Hins gets into the grass. McQueen on the outside for Lukey Heights. About as close as you want to get to making contact. Hins trying to find a little bit more to get by him, but Scotty McQueen knows how important this spot is. And Hins has still got a slight overlap into turn 11, but he can't quite get there. And I think that should be enough here for McQueen, unless Hins can have one last late look through turn 12. Onto the main straight out front. Will Mitch Martin cross the line? No, he won't. White flag in the air. This is it. Mitch Martin wins race 1. McQueen holds off Hins, 2nd and 3rd, the 2 championship rivals.
Yeah, it's going to go right down to the last lap. This battle that's been going on for these 10 cars, it's going to be a race to the line between Carmichael and Mazoma, but Mazoma is going to just hold on. Norman's just going to get of Sam Ross as well. So really close going on further down the order, but really going to be looking forward to this next race, as it's going to be all on.
There's that championship battle gets closer still, with McQueen closing it now to 2 points heading in to the final race. That's how it is. Ferraris, he needs something crazy to happen up front to get himself back in the championship picture. Let's take a look at the results then from this one. The win went to Mitch Martin. He would have been loving that battle in his rearview mirror on that final lap. McQueen in 2nd, Hinsey 3rd, Reece Gardner home in 4th. I think that's the season best for him. Thomas Cool in 5th. He had a quiet race, another season best performance. Up in to 5th off 8th on the grid. Jay Hansen finishing 6th ahead of Jackson Harlow, 25th to 7th in just 10 minutes. A phenomenal drive from him. Daniel Towell in 8th, Simon Mizomo 9th. The top 10 rounded out by Rob Carmichael.
And then just outside the top 10, not far behind that battle as well, Lenny Nobili, Ashley Norman, followed by Sam Ross, Benjamin Dahlia, Bruce Ross, Hamish Gilliland, Ross Thelen, Bailey Sweeney, managing to recover not too badly after that contact with his teammate Ira Felberg in 1920 is Jason Markowski.
21st, Ryan Jarek had a Will Chen up into 22nd. Cameron Cousins, 23rd. Dominic Ferraris, 24th. He'll be ruining that race. David Leslie and Tim Grakoga rounded out the field there, as we have Mitch Martin up in the box. Congratulations, Mitch. You've taken home the victory today. Doesn't matter for the championship lead, but maybe help you in getting some of the minor placings.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, it was good to get the monkey off the back and actually get a win this season, because it's been up to pointy end for most of it, but had some mixed results. So yeah, it was good.
talk us through your mindset for that one. Under a lot of pressure for the whole race from Scotty McQueen. Are you a man that thrives under pressure, or are you someone that couldn't think of the word there? Someone that cracks under pressure. You didn't crack today, but must have been tough.
Yeah, it's always tough. With the car hovering in your mirrors like that, but and also at this track pushing your own air. Obviously, the slipstream's pretty strong here. So yeah, no, I just had to focus on good exits and at the start just try to take care of the tyres a bit, even though he was putting some pressure on. I knew our race set was kind of going to hold on a bit better at the end, so I knew if I could get through the first half, I should be all right.
Race 2 coming up, 20-minute race. Got to make a pit stop at some point. You confident of potentially sweeping the round?
That's the aim. Yeah, I reckon it's definitely doable. So yeah, just got to try and repeat it again.
All right, thank you for joining us up here in the booth. Hopefully we'll talk to you again after the second race.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Alrighty. Let's then take a look at our calendar for Season 2 of the Australian Turbo Touring Car iRacing Series, broadcasted again by Simspeed TV. And I think I've caught Jay off guard with this one. He hasn't quite got it up yet. But he can't get the graphic up. So I'll just talk you through it then. So Cam, an interesting theme then. We're going for a UK swing for the season. All 6 rounds being contested at UK circuits. Starting off at Silverstone 2011, the international circuit, before we head to Brands Hatch Indy. Donington occupies the 3rd row of the grid. Snetterton takes up the 4th round. Did I say the third round of the grid?
Quite possibly, but
Quite possibly.
Yeah, it's an interesting calendar, that's for sure. Yeah, we're definitely going to need to get our tea and biscuits and our Union Jack out because it's very British. See with Silverstone, Brands Hatch, and Donington and Snetterton as well, all featuring on the calendar. So really looking forward to it. This season has been absolutely exciting. I mean, we're going down to the last race to decide the championship. So this next season's going to be probably no different, just only using British tracks.
Yep, I think that's going to be the theme from here on out. But definitely good to have some theme to your season. Should mention too that Silverstone and Brands Hatch both repeat on the calendar, albeit with different track layouts to help ease the burden on the old wallet there. If you don't have some of the tracks, you've only got to buy 3 using international layout, of course, for Silverstone for round 1, and then the Grand Prix layout for the final round of the season. Brands Hatch uses the Indy layout for round 2 and the Grand Prix layout for round 5. Snetterton, of course, smack bang in the middle. Donington there in round 3. Same format. There you go, Jay. Jay finally gets it up on screen with a meek apology in the background that no one can actually hear. Same format, of course, as always. 10-minute race, 20-minute qualifying. I'm going to stop talking. You can talk, Cam.
Yeah, pretty much. You summed it up really well. Same format as this season, sorry. And yeah, really looking forward to it. A bit of a break, obviously, between the start of the next season, just to give the drivers a bit of a break, and also with obviously week 13 and that sort of thing in the iRacing season happening. But yeah, really looking forward to it, and yeah, can't wait to see who we might be crowning as our champion for season 2 and what we might see in terms of racing, whether we're going to see even more drama or whether we're going to see just as much good racing.
I think we're going to see more of the same. Registrations will open at some point over the next week. Make sure you like the Australian Turbo Touring Car iRacing Series on Facebook so you can be the first to know when they open up. Of course, registrations are limited to, I believe, 50 people. First in, first served. Should be good, as we'll go to a quick break here on Simspeed TV. When we come back, we'll have qualifying and race 2 of the championship finale.
fantastic. This is GT racing right now. He's got traction, he's got really outside of both of them. Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up top
Oh
here.
my god! Oh, big crash. Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled.
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no, that's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my god.
God, what?
Welcome back to the season finale here at Phillip Island. A 2-point gap in the championship. Qualifying currently underway for race 2, the feature race, 20 minutes with a compulsory pit stop for a minimum of 2 tyres. What more twists and turns what we see in this one, Cam? We saw Ferraris cop a brutal exit from championship contention in race 1. Hinsey and McLean going to be incredibly tight between them in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not a lot of points, and that's only 2 positions as well between that points gap as well. So it's really going to be all about who finishes where, and really just going to be about making sure you don't end up in an incident, because that's going to pretty much ruin your run entirely in this championship for one of those 2.
I saw in that race that Hayden's had some very good race pace, and he was all over the back of McQueen. But in qualifying, he started 6th, McQueen started 2nd. If Hinsey can out-qualify him here, you've got to put money on him to potentially run away from Scotty there in 2nd. But we know how hard it is to put down a good qualifying lap. It's very easy to make a mistake, run off wide, and get an off track, and invalidate your effort. And as the tyres come up to temp, you really need that second lap to count. Second or third lap to count.
Yeah, absolutely. Having that extra time's really going to be that much more help. And yeah, it's really all about just making sure you get those tires up to temp and making sure you don't do anything silly in your final lap, and making sure you can get that really, really nice lap time down and put yourself up in front. I mean, Hinsey kind of defied that a little bit in the last qualifying session. He's been really, really consistent all season long in the races, and just been constantly scoring points and good results and that sort of stuff. And that's exactly what he's been needing to do. And that's what anyone's sort of needs to do in this championship, just primarily based on the fact that the points gap is so small between each position.
Indeed it is. Tim Gukoga looks like he's going to be the first driver to put down a lap time here. A 1:39.378. Puts himself first for a moment. Scotty McQueen of it instantly takes that away with a 38.733. Big gap between himself and second. Bailey Sweeney up there in 4th. Just waiting for where is Thomas Hins on the racetrack. Dominic Ferraris as well, coming through the final corner. Thomas Hins comes across the start-finish line, goes second, 6/10 off of McQueen. Mitch Martin goes to the top with a 38.5. Dominic Ferraris puts himself second.
Yeah, solid run there by Mitch Martin. The race 1 runner has definitely put his best foot forward for race 2 so far. So possibly a clean sweep for him tonight, but who knows? Dominic Forrest obviously P2, so roughly where he was in the last one. Just we'll see whether he can not end up in trouble in the race. But Scotty McQueen currently 2 positions ahead of his championship rival, so it's going to end up being tied puts if it stays the way it is by the end of the race. But yeah, really, really tight at the moment. Track's actually not as hot as the first race, so but still reasonably hot. So we'll probably see strategy still be quite a key player in this.
Yeah, 5 degrees cooler, 42-degree track temp, still well above what any of these drivers would be wanting out there on track as Scotty McQueen comes through turn 12, comes on the main straight then, trying to find an improvement to the better part of 3/4 of a second to put himself up on pole position. Goes slower on his second lap. He needs to definitely find an improvement then on his third and final attempt. As Thomas Hins comes through turn 12 now. He's fallen all the way back to 8th place in the standings for qualifying. Definitely needs to find an improvement, because we saw what happened in race 1. He was very lucky not to go off track with Ferraris. Finds a big improvement, goes 4th, goes ahead of Scotty McQueen.
Yeah, really solid improvement there as Ryan Sherrick jumps up into P4. Scotty McQueen coming through the Honda hairpin now on his final lap. So we'll see whether he can possibly pop something out of the bag or whether he's going to maybe not quite be able to get it, as Mitch Martin has actually gone quicker. So he's lowered the benchmark for pole just that little bit more. Dominic Farris on his final lap as well as Mitch Martin. So start to see some representative times, and we'll probably see what the true pace of everybody is going to be in this final lap.
Yeah, Bradley Wingard too, just coming through onto the start-finish stripe. He wasn't in race 1. Another good, missed race 1. Another good reason that we have 2 races. You always get a second chance. Too busy cooking dinner, apparently. Real life comes first sometimes. And he goes 22nd. And there's a number 10, and there's Scotty McQueen on his 3rd lap, 6 at the moment. You would expect him to improve on his first lap here, but didn't improve on lap 2. Final lap, 38.2, finds an improvement, goes to pole position, provisional pole. Has anyone else got the time left up their sleeves to potentially pip him from that position? Hiddens and Martin both making their way through the final corner now. We're watching Mitch Martin for Eclipse Sim Sports. Coming down onto the main straight, Thomas Hiddens does a 39.1. He doesn't improve. Mitch Martin improves and goes back to pole.
Well, that's a solid improvement there and reasonably good lap time as well, as Dominic Ferraris has improved, but unfortunately it stays in P3. So it's really close to the top with not a lot in it between the positions. Thomason's not a good qualifying at all, but regardless, he's shown some good race pace, so probably still in the box seat regardless. And with that pit stop as well, it's going to make that pit entry really, really crucial.
It will. Thomas Cool coming off the back of his best ever finish in this series, currently 17th, puts himself up into 8th. So he's really gelling well with this track, isn't he?
Yeah, he's done actually really, really well to end up P8 in this qualifying session. Mostellon improves to go P20 by the looks of it as well, but everybody else seems to have finished their laps. Harlow is, yeah, it looks like everybody is done, so we'll, might as well run through the grid then.
All right, this is how they line up. Mitch Martin on pole. Once again, it's Scotty McQueen starting from 2nd. Once again, it's Prologue React off row 2. Dominic Ferraris 3rd and Bailey Sweeney 4th. Ryan Jerrick from 5th. Tim Grakoga from 6th. Thomas Hiddens back in 7th. If he finishes there, the championship goes to Scotty McQueen. He needs some of the pace he had in race 1. Thomas Cool starting from 8th. Ashley Norman 9th. Top 10 rounded out by Jay Hansen.
Row 6 will be Sam Mazzomo and Reese Gardner. It's Simspeed, row 6 right there, followed by Sam Ross and Jason Markowski on row 7. Ira Felberg and Hamish Clown, row 8. Row 9, Daniel Tell and Lenny Billy, followed by Bruce Ross and Ross Dallin on row 10, rounding out the top 20.
21st will be Rob Carmichael. 22nd, Benjamin Dialia. David Leslie starting off row 12 with Cameron Cousins. Bradley Wingard from 25th. Will Chetney got a qualifying lap in. Hooray! Starting from 26. I'm sure he'll find another improvement in the race as he did in race 1. 27th is Brant Tucker, and that is the field. Still waiting actually for qualifying to time out here. We got a little bit of time up our sleeves, but no one is going to improve on their lap. This is going to be a thrilling finish to this championship, Cam.
Yeah, most certainly is, and really cannot wait. It's going to be so close between the two title contenders of Scotty McQueen and Thomas Hiddens. There's nothing in it in terms of points, so really going to be more or less about who finishes where, and basically winner take all, really. Although if Hinsey can keep that gap close enough, he will be pretty much in the box seat. It is 2 points, 2 positions, so can't wait to see what happens.
Alrighty, so championship rivals line up 2nd and 7th. If it stays how it is, McQueen wins by about 3 or 4 points. Dominic Ferraris starts 3rd. He was in contention before this one got underway. Ryan Jarek, unfortunately, the catalyst to him not being into contention for race 2. Mathematically, he is, but not gonna put any curse on McQueen or Hinds. And hopefully it's a nice, clean fight. We want to see a battle on the track between these two drivers.
Yeah, most certainly do. In fact, we want to see a battle between pretty much everyone, really. It's really a track that promotes really good racing. We've seen some pretty good racing in the first race as well, especially with that massive pack that we saw just inside the top 10. So, really looking forward to seeing what happens. Hopefully, no teammates take each other out, and hopefully, no one ends up losing the championship based on someone ending up with damage. So, we'll see what happens. But not too far away from seeing the green lights come, well, the red lights come on in about 20 seconds.
This is it, the conclusion to a 6-round, 12-race season that's been one of the best I've had the privilege of commentating. Can't wait for season 2 in a couple weeks' time. That calendar will be posted on Facebook very soon if you want to check that out. As the time runs down, the lights come on, the revs will rise. Who gets the jump then? As the green flag flies, and we are racing here for race number 2. Very even from the top 3. And look at that, Dominic Ferraris, Bailey Sweeney pushing Jarek off the track. Retribution for race 1. Jarek will lose a few positions and slots in behind Grakoga and Tom Cool, making their way now into turn 2, the southern loop. As contact, and off the track goes Jarek, from bad to worse, as he gets collected as well by Daniel Toll. And Jarek will go all the way to the back of this one.
Yeah, not been a good night of racing for Ryan at all, but Scotty McQueen on for the lead, trying to go around the outside at the hairpin, but not quite going to get it done. Going to have also a prologue car of Dominic Ferraris on the inside of McQueen with a big moment on the grass.
Big piece of contact with Ferraris when he tried to rejoin. Cost him a spot. Now he's side by side with Sweeney. Thomas Hinds is watching and waiting behind them as well as they go side by side through Hayshed. No quarter given. Contact, and Sweeney, what a save down on the inside. Now he's caught on the outside for Lukey Heights. Will he lose out here to Tom Cool, who's going to have to go the long way around at MG? Laid on the brakes as they dive down the hill, and Cool runs off the track, makes a mistake and spins.
Yeah, Ashley Norman also off on the saw. Simon Mazoma have a bit of a moment there as well.
Hinds
off as well with Sam
inside.
Ross.
For the lead of the championship, Thomas Hinds puts himself back in prime position here, puts himself ahead of Scotty McQueen, sitting 3rd and 4th on the track. McQueen is going to be desperate to get back ahead of him now, because Hinsey now the 3-point buffer.
Yeah, certainly not looking all that positive for Scotty McQueen at the moment, but replay of turn 1, lap 1. You can see that it's just getting absolutely all over the place. Ryan Jarek basically being a bit of a punching bag as well to the Prologue React Esports cars and nearly everybody else as well. Ashley Norman making a bit of contact there as well at Southern Loop. So fortunate there for Ryan Jarek. And there was an incident, I believe.
Sweeney's turned McQueen. He gathers it up, but he loses 2 more spots. We'll do a replay for that in a moment. This is the onboard from Jarek at the...
You can see the onboard heading down the front straight on lap 1. We'll grab a replay of that moment with McQueen shortly, but here we go. Replay of McQueen and Sweeney. It just looked like Sweeney sort of had the move done, but not quite sure what happened. It just sort of looked like McQueen slowed it a little bit too much mid-corner. It's, hard to judge that one.
I know that Race Control jumped on before the start of the race 1, mentioning to make sure you give respect to the guy in the championship fight. Don't know if that message got through to these drivers, because that's 2 contenders now who've been turned sideways at the very minimum by drivers not in the championship battle. As down in pit lane comes one of the Prologue React esports machines. Reese Gardner's a long way off the field as well. He's pitted, that's why. And those back 3 drivers have all made pit stops as McQueen trying to go up the inside of Grakoga in turn 1. Now he's on the wrong side of the track for the southern loop. Grakoga going to try to use the inside as McQueen struggles for grip out on the outside off the racing line. Jay Hansen wants to find a way through, just tucks in behind McQueen, who's battling for 4th, while Thomas Hinds starts to chase down Mitch Martin and Dominic Ferraris for the lead.
Yeah, Hinds in a really prime position here to pretty much put himself in the championship. Well, have one hand on the championship for the time being. Jay Hansen quite yet a move done on Scotty McQueen, and he'll still sit behind Goatkrieger as well. But nevertheless, Dominic Ferraris has been right on the back of Mitch Martin, and apparently there's a big incident happened back in the field as well.
Oh, I had to be careful with the rejoin there. And we should mention too that Jay Hansen is racing one of these in real life this year. So, no surprise to see him up inside the top 10. Ross Thalen on the brakes! And big contact with Bruce Ross and Ira Feldberg, who did not see that coming. And such are the dangers of the entry into the hairpin here at Phillip Island. We've seen this many times in real life and in sim racing.
Yeah, certainly. It just looks like a bit of contact possibly between Carmichael and Thalen, and unfortunately Ross got on the grass and that was it, game over. And Feldberg and Ross both felt that impact pretty well, especially Ira, who got well and truly hit in the right rear. So really unfortunate for those drivers, but that is a big thing in that corner where it's easy to make a mistake, as the lead battle is on between Ferraris and Mitch Martin with them nose to tail at the moment. There's been absolutely nothing in between these two.
I think Martin might be getting sick of defending the lead. He did it all the race 1. He's trying to do it again in race 2, but down to the inside goes Dominic Ferraris, dancing it in on the rears, gets it stopped, and gets himself up into the lead of this race. Hinds closes by a little bit through that exchange, but still sits a few car lengths off the back. Scotty McQueen has pulled the trigger and made his pit stop. Can he make some sort of undercut work here to try and claw himself back ahead of Thomas Hinds? As we've got a replay up on screen. This is Hamish Cleland.
Had a moment at the hairpin by the sounds of it. Possible contact between himself and Carmen. No, he's actually on his own, actually. He's just gone a bit deep on the brakes and unfortunately ended up running wide onto the grass. So he's lost about a couple of positions, about 2 positions. Luckily, nearly not quite 3 to Brant Tucker, but fortunate there to lose a few positions.
And a replay of the move for the lead. Decisive move to the inside, late on the brakes. Got it pulled up very nicely. Didn't even disconnect from the apex through the corner. And that's about as textbook as it gets. Very clean from Dominic Ferraris, making a statement here in race 2 that he could have been in the championship fight, as Hinds gets down into pit lane now, trying to cover off Scotty McQueen. And we'll see where he rejoins relative to the number 16 as McQueen makes his way through MG and into turn 11 and 12. Hinds still down in the pit lane.
Yeah, he hasn't quite dropped off the jacks just yet.
There he goes.
There he goes. And where is McQueen on track? He is coming through the final corner. This is going to be very close between the two of them, as Hinds is just left pit lane. Don't think McQueen's quite going to have enough overspeed though.
No, I think that's worked pretty well for Hinds. And McQueen has to dive by Mizomo as well. So their line is stern on the track, but about 2 or 3 seconds separating them on the racetrack. One hand then on the trophy for Hinds. That's a mistake for Cameron Cousins, who looped it again. Harlow just about misses him on the entry to MG. Here's a replay of this one.
Not quite sure what's happened here for Cousins. It looks he's had a moment actually into Lee Heights. He's just run a bit deep, and weirdly he's just gone straight on as if he's knocked a brake possibly. It's really, really weird actually that what's happened there. Possibly a technical failure?
Yeah. Fortunate though for Harlow. Oh, I don't know how that was not contact. That was very close. Mitch Martin wants this lead back, trying to sweep the final round of the championship here. Will he go for the move into Honda that Ferraris put on him? Not this time round, at least. They are back. They are still in the lead. Neither of these drivers yet to pit. And very slow coming out of Honda there for Dominic Ferraris. Missed a gear, potentially, as Mitch Martin gives him a whack into Siberia. Give him the hurry along. He wants this spot back in a hurry.
Yeah, he certainly will. We won't want to be messing around at all. Will Mitch Martin? He'll want this win with only 10 minutes to go. Still plenty of time to go though, so won't want to use up those tyres too much too early. But nevertheless, it's still a stunning battle going on for the race leaders. Martin's going to look up the inside at MG, but not quite going to have the run. But they're going to be side by side. Bit of door banging, but for us, we'll hold on for the time being.
Wonder if one of these drivers will dive down to pit lane to get out of this battle. Not going to happen this time by. And they'll make their way through turn 12. And the slipstream will come into effect here for Mitch Martin down the long main straight here at Phillip Island. As he tucks in and Ferraris takes a defensive line into turn 1. Martin gives him a push, bump drafting down the final part of the main straight. And Ferraris will just run a little bit wide through turn 1, but he's done enough to retain the lead. And Martin's got to find a way through somehow.
Yeah, most certainly. You can't drive through someone, you got to go around them. So we have his work cut off for him, but a couple of battles happening just in the back of the field as there's contact between Lenny Nobili and Bruce Ross, and Ross right off the road, and he's going to make the field.
Fence just helps him get it back pointed the right way there. I don't think there's any damage to his right side either. Tyre bundle doing its job. Very fortunate there. These are the leaders. They're side by side. Martin on the wrong side of the track for Siberia. What about the crossover move into Hayshed? He's going to be on the wrong side of the track again. We've seen this move work for a couple of drivers tonight, trying to sweep around the outside. And he's got the inside for Lukey Heights, but Ferraris very strong on the inside line. Side by side still through Lukey Heights. Ferraris just lost it a bit, and Martin takes the lead back.
Yeah, very, very good move there by Mitch Martin to manage to hold it around the outside at Hayshed and have the inside for Lukey Heights and get the position back, as McQueen is actually catching Hinsey quite quickly, which is rather interesting. A massive amount of pace difference as well. Last time by 38.6 for McQueen and a 39.1 for Hins. So something possibly going on with Hinsey at the moment.
Yep. Maybe the pressure's getting to him a bit. Leading the championship. It's in his hands here. Even if McQueen gets by him, he's still got the championship wrapped up. As long as he doesn't lose another spot. So no reason for him to push too hard at the moment. Just under 8 minutes left in this race. Martin has not been able to gap Ferraris at all. He's still about a car length and a half, 2 car lengths in front of him, making the way through into Honda. And these drivers will have to pit eventually. It'd be interesting to see. Harlow's up into third too, by the way. Started from the back of the field again, from 28th this time. There's a few more drivers in this race than we saw in race 1.
Yes, pretty solid driving by Harlow to end up in the top 3. And there's not even a second between McQueen and Hins, so not quite entirely sure what's happening, but there's got to be something going on for Hinsey, because there's some form of pace difference. It's just not what it was prior, but yeah, it's so strange. It was nearly a second in terms of pace difference last time by, as McQueen's done the quickest lap as well.
Further back, this is Markowski and Hamish Cleland going side by side. Markowski takes that one away up the inside, and Cleland's going to come back at him though. Down they go into the kink and into Honda. Markowski is on the right side of the track, but Cleland moves across and takes it away. Markowski too deep into the corner, and Cleland holds on. Great driving from him, as Hins is now under all sorts of pressure from Scotty McQueen. You just see in the background there, someone's off the track at Honda corner. McQueen, then he's closed by over 2 seconds in the last few laps. And they're both catching Tim Grakoga as well. I tell you what, if McQueen gets by Hins and Grakoga, love to see the championship then, because could be level if he does that.
Yeah,
I think Ferraris might have been having some issues too, because I'm not quite seeing him on the track. Some technical adjustments for Ferraris as well. And he's gone, so Ferraris is out.
Yeah, so another position up for grabs as well, with Hinsey now going to go on by Tim Grakoga up the inside, and now McQueen going to possibly look 3 wide, not quite, but going to sit behind Grakoga for the time it being. So Hinsey gets another car between himself and McQueen. He seems to have picked up pace on that last lap as well. Only a few tenths this time by compared to McQueen. So possibly cold tyres for Hinsey in those last few laps, maybe?
Essentially another big championship implication with Ferraris leaving. Bailey Sweeney as well left the retired from the race, and that means that Prologue React Simsports could lose this team's championship here to Eclipse with both drivers out of race 2.
Yeah, they actually possibly could. It'll be interesting to see what the team's championship looks like after this race, with both of those Prologue cars gone and still all 3 Eclipse cars running at the moment, and all just within the top 10. So really going to be interesting to see what the points are going to look like. It's probably going to be in favor of Eclipse, but who knows?
Speaking of points, what about this between McQueen and Hins? Wouldn't be a championship round without late drama. We're going to get some today, because McQueen's definitely got the pace. He's closed it back up. The gap to Hins since getting by Grakoga. It cost him a little bit trying to find his way by him. But now he's got no one in front of him. A few more drivers in pit lane. Mitch Martin's going to come out pretty close to these drivers. Right in front of Thomas Hins, in fact. Can he get the car up to speed quick enough as Hins closes and closes down into turn number 1. Mitch Martin will rejoin comfortably in front of him, but that now gives a target for Hinsey to chase.
Yeah, it certainly does, and it's not always a bad thing to have someone to chase, especially someone who's got some decent pace as well, as it gives you sort of a moving goalpost to sort of chase after, more or less. So be interesting to see what happens here, and see Mitch Martin being on slightly colder tyres as well than Hinsey and the rest of the cars behind him, but it'll make it a bit of a challenge. It could actually help Hinsey with a bit of draft as well.
Good doers are all line astern now, making their way into Siberia. Martin, Hins, McQueen and Grakoga covered by about a second and a half. Live championship point standings, 3 points in favour of Hins. It'll swing by 2 points and become a 1 point gap in favour of Hinsey if McQueen can get by him. And if McQueen can get by him and then get by Martin, then the championship will be level.
Yeah, it certainly wouldn't. What a move as McQueen locks up the inside, but doesn't quite make it happen in the end. And he's lost quite a bit of ground as well, about 2 to 3 car lengths to Hinsey there from trying to make it up the inside. But Hinsey is all over the back end of Mitch Martin here. He's going to have prime draft opportunity here to make a move into turn 1. You can see he's all over the back end.
He's too close.
Really making it.
He's too close. He's not going to get a draft benefit, really, because he was already on his back bumper heading onto the main straight. The move from McQueen that he attempted into MG's really cost him, and Grakoga goes down the inside of McQueen. A little bit of contact made, and suddenly McQueen's got even more work to do. That move into MG was a little bit too aggressive, and it has cost him. It wasn't there, and that is why you've got to be patient when you're trying to make a move, when you've got someone behind you. McQueen now going to have to try and come back at Grakoga. Into Honda. Grakoga defensive. Goes to the inside. He's going to have to go the long way around here as Scotty McQueen, as Hins trying to go the long way around on Mitch Martin as well in the foreground. Neither of them can make their move stick.
Yeah, they certainly can, and they're running out of time as well. There's not many laps left. There's about 3 laps well, 2 laps next time by. So, going to be really, really close, and they're going to need to start making some moves if they want to get some positions and points.
Jackson Harley will come down to pit lane at the end of this lap too, and this will become the battle for the lead of the race. Although it's a 40-second buffer, I wonder whether Harlow can come out ahead of these drivers. It's going to be very interesting to see. He's gone round behind one of them, or he's going to come out in 8th place, in fact, behind Ryan Jarrett. So definitely not got enough of a gap to be a factor in this one. Although, I think Harlow might be in a bit of trouble here. I think he should have pitted, but he's not done so.
Yeah, he possibly should have, although there is 2 laps to go, so he technically can pit next time by, although who knows what's going to happen here. Wonder if he has actually gotten maybe to pit.
I think you're right. I think he's probably got one last chance, which I think he will be this lap. Be interesting to see whether these drivers can make it round to the start-finish line before that checkered flag falls. They won't do it. They're only at turn 2, so this will be the final lap of the race, I think. If Harlow pits, depends whether Harlow triggers the final lap while he's in pit lane, as there's contact further back between Dahlia and the Chicken Up Racing machine of Ashley Norman behind him, making their way through the southern loop. Norman all over the back of him now, trying to find a way through, gives them a push out of the southern loop and down into Honda they go. And Norman, what about a move up the inside? He shows the nose, but can't brake late enough. Harlow's in pit lane, and he has not triggered the final lap yet. It's going to be the final lap of the race here. Harlow will get a penalty for pitting on the final lap. Mitch Martin will lead the race from Thomas Hins second. Grecoga third. 2 more corners for Hinsey then to wrap this one up. He's led it since the first round of the championship. It's not been without battle or without challenge. Mitch Martin will come out of the final corner to win race number 2, technically. And Thomas Hins will come across the start-finish line, and he is your Season 1 champion for the Australian Turbo Touring Car iRacing Series. Fantastic consistency across the board to take this one out. Grecoga wraps up the podium. Harlow crosses the line 4th, ahead of McQueen. I do think McQueen will get that spot in the end. You can't pit in the final lap of the race.
Yeah, absolutely. It's cool when Carmichael going to drag race to the line, but Carmichael's going to have the position in the end. Everybody is starting to come across the line, and yeah, what a race, and awesome job by Hinsey to get that in the end.
Indeed it is. The Ratu Racing Man picks up a championship here, and he'll look to go back-to-back for Season 2 in a couple of weeks' time. As let's go through the full results for race 2. It's a sweep of the rounds from Mitch Martin. Picks up the win from pole position. Hinsey home in second. Tim Grecoga took third for Eclipse Sim Sports, making it a 1-3 for them, and surely a championship for them in the team standings. Harlow home in 4th for now. Scotty McQueen takes 5th ahead of Simon Mazzomo in 6th. Jay Hansen 7th. Ryan Jarrett, Hamish Cleland, and Jason Markowski rounded out the top 10.
11th will go to Benjamin Dahlia, followed by Ashley Norman, Rob Carmichael, then Thomas Cole, Daniel Towell rounding out the top 15. 16th to Will Chen, Reese Garner 17th, 18th and 19th, Bruce Ross and Lenino Billy. Top 20 rounded out by Al Felberg. Then the rest of the order, Bradley Wingard, Dave Leslie, same Ross Thalen, Cameron Cousins, Brent Tucker, Dominic Faris, and Bailey Sweeney. Unfortunately, your DNFs.
Just adding up the team's points too is Jay in the background. Hopefully he gets the math right on this one. And we should hopefully be able to confirm the team's championship. But in the meantime, let's talk to Mitch Martin. Well, you said you were confident and the plan was to sweep the round. You've done it pretty convincingly.
Oh, how good. Good way to end the year, huh? Yeah, that was good. It was obviously a hard one, banging doors for most of that race. So, yeah, it was good fun.
Yeah, Looked like a very good battle out there between yourself and Ferraris. Big shame for Ferraris owing to technical difficulties, I think. Talk us through the mindset then for that one. Battling with Ferraris before the pit stops, were you trying to just give him a hurry along to try and open up a gap before you pitted, knowing that Hins and McQueen had already done so, or were you just trying to take that lead away?
I was just trying to give it to him. I wasn't gonna make it easy, so I could see in the background that Tim was probably making a bit of ground on us, and that the other guys had already pitted. But I took care of the tyres early on, and then Dom was a little bit quicker at that stage. And then I thought tyres were good for the middle stint of the race. So, yeah, I was trying to push to get past and pull a gap, which I did. And then, yeah, unfortunately, the internet issues or something. So, yeah.
And obviously, you drive for Eclipse Sim Sports. Jay, in the background, in the producer's chair, have you managed to add up the team's points yet? Not yet. Maybe we'll keep you in the booth in the background while we do the others, so we
Okay,
can
no dramas.
potentially do that. But before we leave you to just mind your own business in the background, heading in to season 2, are we going to see you back? We announced the schedule mid broadcast. We're doing a UK swing, all 6 rounds occurring on the UK circuit. Are you going to be back?
Yeah, I'll definitely be back. It was it was a great first season. So, and yeah, like I said in the first interview, I had some mixed results at the sort of the start of the season, which cost a few points. So, no, I'm keen to come back, finishing on a high like this. Keen to come back and give it a good crack for next season for sure.
Alrighty, before we anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, sponsors?
Of course, Clips, Sim Sports for all their support with everything. It's been awesome, and yeah, you guys for the commentary. It's spot on, very professional, and of course, the series organisers.
Alright, thank you very much. And alright, well let you stay in the box before we add up the championship in terms of the teams. But in terms of the drivers, there is no doubt Thomas Hiddens is your championship winner. Cameron Dance is standing by with him.
Yes, well, indeed. Hinsey, get in there, mate. Well done on the championship. Did exactly what you had to do all season long. Congratulations.
Thank you, Cam. Thank you. A bit. Yeah, I don't really know what to say for once. It's just I thought tonight going in, I was like, it's very tight. I know raw pace generally isn't where I get back at this, and yeah, I thought I'll be lucky if I hold it. I was happy to just go third, but yeah, obviously the first race, the shenanigans happen, and again, big commiserations to Dom. Really sad to see someone get taken out from something completely out of their control is always the worst. So big commiserations to him. He had a great championship and drove really well. But yeah, kept it clean there and brought it home. And then yeah, second race, I did the quali, and I was just thought, oh, here we go. This is going to be an uphill battle trying to get to one position behind Scott, which I knew I needed to be to take it. And yeah, thankfully got a really good start and a bit of shenanigans and managed to slip by Scott. And yeah, and then just all I had to do then was just beat him. That's why I pitted. As soon as he pitted, I was like, well, I could stay out, but I just need to beat Scott. So I was like, I prefer to pit and know where he is relative to me. So yeah, I managed to beat him out and just hold. So yeah, I don't know. I never thought I'd actually win one of these, especially now I'm not able to drive as much and stuff. I don't know. It's cool, man. I don't know.
Well, just going back to race 2 really quickly, and surely after you'd pitted, you seemed to drop pace a bit, which we found sort of a bit odd. We thought you might have been having some technical issues or maybe cold tires. We weren't quite sure. What was the reasoning behind the drop in pace only?
I actually don't know. I was a bit miffed too. I was going along and everything was normal. Everything in my end seemed to be going the same as it had been all race and in the first one. And yeah, I thought I wasn't going too bad pace wise. And then I saw the times, like, Jesus, what's going on? My pace just didn't seem to be there. I'm glad they kind of picked up. I don't know. I assume maybe I was just being a little too cautious. I think maybe I was so worried about obviously beating it that I was being a little bit too cautious and not pushing hard enough. So that'd be my guess. But yeah, I'm just glad that when it really mattered there right at the death, it came back. Thank goodness. So yeah, it worked out. Thank God.
Well, regardless, very solid result in this round, and we'll see with season 2 coming up, not in the in the near distant future. It's looking good for you. Going to be returning to defend your crown.
Yeah, well, I'll have to return to obviously have a race if I can. To be honest, as I was saying in my stream chat earlier, I just really want to get this one, just so I could say I won one. Really, I don't know, more just to say to people, hey, I won a championship recently. Suck on that. So you know, I'm not honestly not too bothered about defending it, but I'll definitely, if I can make the races again like this season, I'll definitely give it my best go. I don't think it's going to happen personally, but hey, I'll give it my best go anyway. So yeah, definitely.
Well, before we let you go, man, who do you want to give any shout outs to and anyone you want to thank?
Yeah, I guess just driver's seat, Zuva, I think Simfinity and all the guys, obviously KRF as well, all the guys in the car. You know, big thanks to them for giving us the sponsorship, and you know, just having such good look on the car, and obviously the team just being awesome. And again to Ira and Ryan for running a really good series. You know, awesome series, was so good. All season was just fantastic. Definitely one of the best I've been in. I think I've been in a lot of championships at this point. And yeah, that was definitely one of the best ones. I think just very very good fun, and obviously big thanks to you guys for the broadcast and making the show and the spectacle that it was, and hopefully continue on to season 2. So thank you very much, guys.
No worries, Hinzy. Well, Ryan, guess whoever's next on the interview list.
Well, Jay has done his math. He's double checked it, triple checked it, got his son to check it for him, and we've got the unofficial teams championship. 30 points the gap in the end in favour of Eclipse. So that means, Mitch, that your team is taking out the team's championship.
All right, yeah, that's good news. Yeah, no, we had 4 cars this season, so yeah, me and Ryan in the A team, B team, whatever you'd like to call it. everyone pretty much had a good run. So yeah, we'll come back stronger next season. Should be good.
Hopefully next season you can do the double for Eclipse. Maybe we'll see you back in championship contention. Thanks for saying well, that's up here. Go and share the good news with your teammates, and we'll drag in someone else into the booth.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Don't have time for another proper interview here. One of the drivers, although there's plenty down that I want to talk to. We are going to drag up Ira Felberg here, the man responsible for the series 20th place in the race today. But in terms of the series, the season, it's been phenomenal, Ira.
Yeah, you're right. It has been. I'm just still trying to get over tonight. I was up to ninth. That's the highest I've been all season. But anyway, these things happen. But yeah, no, it's been good. Like, you know, you kind of have an expectation. But yeah, I think in terms of racing, they're just such good cars to battle close with, you know, and it's hard to do in other cars on there. And yeah, it's been great. I can't complain.
In terms of you and the car, obviously you've set up a series. We haven't seen you at the front. I mean, you're still enjoying yourself, you know, all the way up and down the order, no matter where you are. They're just sort of those sorts of cars where you have fun no matter where you are.
Yeah, for sure. And that was part of my motivation. Look, you know, I'm not the quickest guy in the world, but I'm not the slowest either. But it doesn't really matter in these cars. Wherever you are, you can battle. And the other thing is, you know, guys like Jackson, right? They spanked me in V8s. They're like 5 seconds down the road. But like in quali, I think I was just a bit over a second off them. So they're kind of a bit of an equaliser. And yeah, I look in terms of me, I haven't done much practice. This was the only round I actually practiced for, and it showed because I got my best quali, which I think was about 15, and I was up to ninth. And my mate Ross decided he didn't like that.
Yeah, there's some interesting racing out there all the way through both races, really. We've announced, of course, the season 2 schedule. Don't really need to tell you what it is because you created the damn thing. But are you looking forward to the UK swing for season 2?
Yeah, for sure. I thought to try and mix it up a little bit. You know, instead of just jumping around to all random tracks, you know, this will be the season that'll be remembered as like season UK. The other thing is they're all actually really good tracks. I've done a fair few laps testing, and they're all got good passing opportunities. We've already raced at some of them, and you know, that's where these cars were kind of born in a way. You know, the old British touring cars, like back in the '90s, banging doors. You know, Cleland and all those guys. So yeah, it'd be cool, I thought, to go back there and do like a whole series there. And they're undulating tracks, the different surfaces, and all those things I think actually suit these cars.
Certainly should be a cracking season. You got any info for us on when registrations are going to be opening up for the public?
Yeah, so basically 1 week, Wednesday next week, midday Australian Eastern Daylight Time. Entries for season 2 will be open. So it's first come, first serve basis. So we cap it at 50. I don't think we'll get over that, but we'll see. I'll probably get a little bit more interest, but pretty happy with about how many we've got now. And I might just take the time quickly, if I can, guys, just to thank the drivers, because you can have a great idea and a good plan, but without them showing up every week, you're nothing really. So, and I mean that, like from the front of the grid to the back of the grid. I told the guys before the race, I really appreciate it, because they are what has made it a good series. And while I'm thanking people, I'd also like to thank you guys. You guys have been fantastic, and look, I won't bore people with stories, but the amount of work that you guys do behind the scenes. Someone asked me, how much work is it to run a series? And I said, however much you think it is, right? Triple it. Because it looks like it's not a lot of work. But yeah, the way you guys, go above and beyond. And also Ryan from Race Management Surfers, he did the same thing. He pulled a few strings to get this on, happening. So it really was a team effort. Definitely wasn't just me. So yeah, I just want to thank all those people collectively. It's been awesome working with all you guys.
Been a pleasure working with you, and I can't wait for season 2. I'm sure Cam is the same. I'm sure Jay is the same. I'm sure everyone that's been tuning in can't wait for season 2. Drivers as well. Any last shout outs, thank yous, sponsors, anything?
Not really, just the sponsors, Simfinity. Steve's helped me pay the bills this season. And as I said, RMS, Race Management Surface, and also you guys, you definitely went above and beyond. And mainly just the drivers, and I think it's a cool concept. Everyone seems to be enjoying it. If you get wrecked in one race, you still got race 2, all that. So, yeah, I just really thank the drivers for showing up every week, because without them, we don't have much to broadcast.
Certainly. Well, thank you for coming up here into the booth and talking to us. Hopefully we get to talk to you a bit more next season.
Yeah, I'll try and do some practice and get closer to the front next season. But I'll tell you what, it's a pretty good field. Those names up the front there.
Certainly. All right. Thank you very much. And Cam, I think that'll about do us for today. What are your final thoughts on the race, the round, the championship?
Awesome series for season 1. I mean, you couldn't hand the championship to a better guy, let's be honest. And yeah, really looking forward to season 2. It's going to be an awesome season of racing. Awesome race every single week. Can't wait for it.
Neither can I. It should be fantastic. The UK swing registrations open on Wednesday at midday Australian Eastern Daylight Time. Schedule can be found on Facebook as well, on Simspeed or the official Australian Turbo Touring Car Facebook page. Make sure you give a like to both of those. Make sure you subscribe to the Simspeed channel if you want to stay up to date with our latest broadcasts. Should a like on the broadcast too if you enjoyed it. And coming up, we got some pretty good broadcasts. On Friday night, we're going Truck Series racing at Las Vegas. On Saturday, of course, top split of the Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, America. NASCAR iRacing Series. That will be a massive broadcast. Round 1 was a whole lot of fun. And poor Jay's got double duty that day too. He's got the Porsche Esports Qualifying Series on Saturday night as well. So make sure you tune in for those. Should be brilliant. Should be fun. But for tonight, from myself, Ryan Jones, from Cameron Dance alongside, from Jay Kennedy behind the scenes, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now. He's got traction. He's got rhythm. Both of them. Maloney.
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my God.
Big crash. Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled.
Second very close. guys I want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no, that's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?